Hello and welcome back to Farming Simulator 22 and also my second video on my how-to series on CoursePlay. So I did go quite in depth in that first video. I showed you all the basics and how to get set up, so it's really highly recommended that you go and watch that if you're new to CoursePlay. If you're trying to learn all the basics from start to finish, make sure you go and watch that video first. I'll put a link for that video in the description of this one. Go watch that, then come back to this for some more tips and tricks on CoursePlay. If you're obviously here though just for the title of this video, which is going to be automated grass work and how to do that from start to finish, then obviously this video is definitely going to be for you. So before I get going on that, I have got the field set up all ready and waiting, all the equipment that we need to do a full automated field work in regards to grass. We're going to do some silage, but before we get on with that, I am just doing this in here to answer a quick question that I got in my first video, which is if you started doing some field work yourself and you were halfway through and decided you wanted to do something different, can you use CoursePlay to carry on from the point you were at? And the answer is yes, you can. There's probably a couple of ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you two, I think, the best ways to get this done. So the first one is what I'm doing right now. So I've just drove into field 7 from there. I've started mowing, I've gone up, and then I've come back down again, and I'm now about to go up on the third. And I've jumped out and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go do something else now. So I'm going to use CoursePlay to finish off from this point. Now, I haven't done a headland. Now I could have done a headland, that wouldn't have been a problem as well, but I haven't done a headland. I've just been doing some up and down rows just because this turns really well. So the best way to do this and how you probably want to go about this is to try and emulate what you've started in the field. It's really important that you do the exact same thing when setting up the course. So what we need to do is jump into this mower, and we need to keep in mind that we're doing no headland and we're going up and down. So wrong menu, go in the right menu, there we go. So what we obviously need to do is quickly just jump into the active workers, this one here. We're going to create a job. We're going to go to CoursePlay Fieldwork. Now, I just want to point out, since my first video, there has been an update. We're now on 0.24, version 24, and I have to say, there's some really nice touches, really nice additions. They have also fixed the issue with the conflict from Autodrive, so that's all sorted now, so you don't have to worry about changing your commands. You can as well. I've kept it at that, so I'm still using my controller to pick up the CoursePlay menu, but now it doesn't conflict at all with Autodrive, which is really good to see. And they also brought in a new feature, which is the recording feature that was in FS19, which is really going to help us for what I'm going to show you in this part now, which is how to carry on a course. So we've also got this now, which is field position. And if we were generating a course, you can just stick this anywhere in the field and it'll pick up the field that you want to do. So we're obviously in field 7, there we go, or over here. And we obviously want to generate a course now that kind of simulates what we're doing here. So I'm just going to do the target position. I'm going to see if this works, because at the end of the day, they have got this here now, but we're just going to generate it here. Now the reason I've put it down there is because that's where I entered the field. We're going to pick this up. It is a 10-meter working width on this mower. We're going to do up and downs because that's what we're trying to emulate, the exact same thing we've done before. We didn't do a headland, so we don't want to do another headland. We don't need to worry about any of that stuff or skipping a row, because this turns really well. And I think we're all set there. So all we need to do is generate field course. And as you can probably just make out, if I close it down, a course has been generated. And what it normally does by default is it picks the longest stretch of the field and does an up and down rows. So obviously this is perfect for what we're doing right now. It's going to go up from here because we've told it we're heading in that direction. And it's going to come back down here and then go back up there and so on. Now where we are here, we're pretty much going up on the third, which is where we're just probably to the right of where it is, but that doesn't matter because it will sync up eventually. So we could save this now if you wanted to, but we're not going to save it because we don't need to. We're just going to jump into the vehicle. We're going to bring up the CoursePlay menu, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to, before that, I'll show you a really good trick for this so you know where you are on the actual map as you're playing. If you go into vehicle settings and go into show course, instead of it just being start and stop, I'd recommend putting all waypoints. And you can probably already make out in the background, we've got all these. And these waypoints here, a bit like Autodrive, but these are the CoursePlay ones. Instead of having dots, they've got arrows, and the arrows are telling you the direction that you're heading in. So we know from that we're pretty much heading in this direction. It's all synced up, but we're not quite online there, but it doesn't really matter. We'll be a bit off lap for this first headland going up. No, for this row, sorry, going up. But then as we come back down again and do a couple more, we'll be right on sync. So it's already set up, this is going to carry on for us as soon as we set it going, but we need to make sure that we set from nearest waypoint. We don't want first and we don't want last, we want it to be nearest waypoint, because then what it's going to do is the nearest waypoint, which is probably that one, it's going to continue from that point. And there you go. So now what it'll do, happily on its own, is carry on from where we left off. Right, so as you can see, that worked pretty well. Now, what happens if you come into the field from down the bottom like I did, instead of going up on the longest straight like I did, what happens if I start mowing in this direction? What happens then? Obviously, let's say that if we just go to here, let's just say we went to here, and we wanted to, let's say that I already mowed probably up to where field 7, it says field 7 there. So all this section up here needs mowing still. So what would you do? Well, you obviously create another field, so we just need to clear this one off. So what we need to do is, now we've cleared off the route in field 7, let's say we, like I said, we were about halfway up field 7 and we're going in this direction. So we need to create a job again, CoursePlay field work, target position, just put it like that, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's in this field, we could even just pick field position, to be honest, it doesn't matter. And if we can open this now, course generator, 10 meters, let's say this time we actually did a headland around, but then as we came back down, we started doing rows that way. Well, this is where you need to keep in mind, so let's first make sure we put the headland in, number 1. But let's have a look at here, up and down row direction. So we need to change this to manual, and then this is important. This is the direction you're telling it to go in. So 0 is north, so if you've got 0 degrees, it's north. So if we just press generate field course now, you can see behind that it's going up and down, which is exactly what we had before, but we don't want to do that. And this is where this up and down row angle is really important. So right now it's at 0 degrees, which is north. If we're going directly across like that, it's going to be 90 degrees. So if I just show you 45, for example, you can see that it's angled up like that. If I go to 90, you can see that it's now perfectly how we want. And if I went over 90, it'd start directing back, as you can just see. But we want 90. So we do that, we're all good and we're all set to go. So again, at this point, you could save it if you wanted to. We're just going to jump out. And then what we want to do is, let's just say, let's say we were by the 7 like I first said. You'd obviously go up to field 7 number, or where it is you've finished your mowing and decided that you want to swap to something else. Which is, let's just say it's here. You can see that the arrows are going in that direction. You'd obviously bring it up, get in line, and then nearest waypoint, go. Job done. That simple. And it's just as simple as that, honestly. It's really easy. Right, so the next thing I want to show you, because there is quite a lot in this episode, hopefully it won't be too long, but it is all good, useful information. So the next thing I'm going to show you is custom fields. We've now got a new setting in where we can do some fields by recording the boundary of the field. So I'm going to just jump to field 35. I'm going to get a tractor and a mower set up, and I'm going to quickly show you what I mean by that. Right, so as you can tell, I'm in the area where the pigs used to be. Now, because I'm playing on the updated version, and if you delete out the pigs, then obviously you can't have this area just to do some grass work in. So let's say you were planting in grass, and this is a full lush field of grass. What we need to do, though, because it hasn't got a field number technically, if I tried to generate a course right now in this field, so field 35, it wouldn't actually work. So if I just go to create job, let's go target position, doesn't really matter. I will show you with both. It won't even let me generate a course. It doesn't even give me the option down here. But let's say I go field position in the middle, open it up, won't even let me generate a course. So the only thing we can do in that situation is record our own. And to do that, you bring up the menu. It's probably better to have your tool folded so you can get more precise around the edge of the boundary. Now we're going to start from about here, and there's a little circle here that if you press, it'll start recording. It goes red. So all I need to do now is drive around the boundary of the field, which I'll just quickly do, and then I'll cut back in when it's done. Right, so there we go. Just done it dead quick, wasn't dead precise. Obviously you want to do this as much precision as you can so you can get a really nice boundary for your field. But all we need to do then is basically press that red button again, and it'll ask you, do you want to save the recorded course as a custom field? CoursePlay 2. You want to put yes. Now, if you open up the map now, what you'll notice is by field 35, you've actually got this custom boundary called CP2. Now we're going to use this, but I did one over here called CP1 just for the reason of showing you. If you go back to your actual menus over here, you can see with your normal crop filters and all that stuff, it still shows that you've got this custom boundary. Now if you don't want it and you want to get rid of it, if you click on where it says the actual name, so around here, if you click over here, nothing will happen. But if you do click in the middle, CP1, it'll say, do you want to delete this? And that's how you delete it. So if you did make a mistake like on your first go around, you can always delete it, but we're going to be using this one right now, so we're not going to delete it out. So again, we jump into the vehicle, create job, CoursePlay fieldwork, target position, doesn't really matter, let's put him there, open your normal CoursePlay generation menu, and then we're going to go, let's say 2 headlands, depends what you want to do, but let's say 2 headlands, and we'll start work on the headland. 1 multiple tool, job done, automatic direction, generate field work course, and as you can see, there's your course for your custom field, all done and all generated. So if you're out in a field, let's say, and you've got a nice patch of grass somewhere and you want to make your own field, no man's land might be perfect for this, you can always then make your boundary so you can actually use CoursePlay to work in that field. Another really cool feature that was in FS19 version of CoursePlay, but it's now finally in FS22 version. So I did definitely thought it was worth pointing out. And with me doing grass work, I can just squeeze this one in the video. Right, so now, even though the video's gone on probably quite a bit, we're now going to get to the proper bread and butter of this episode, which is to do a full automated course on this field. So as you can see, I'm in this field, field 10, good sized field. I've got a load of masses with a load of equipment. I've got a baler, I've got a wrapper, some mowers, windrow, and an auto load trailer. So let's get cracking with this. So the first thing we're going to do is mow away. So we need to generate a course for this to run on to start mowing. So to do that, basically all we need to do is the same straightforward thing. We're just going to go create job, CoursePlay field work. Doesn't really matter about field position, but we'll just pick field position this time in the center of the field. Open CoursePlay. How many headlands should we do? Let's do 2. 8.6 meters, which is what this mower is, which is fine. Don't want to skip a row. It should turn pretty well. We'll start work on the center, finish on the headlands, just because when the baler gets to it, it's going to make things a lot easier. So we'll start work on the center, and I think that should do it. Generate field course. And there we go. So at this point, you can obviously save this one. It's not too important to save this course unless it's leaving the row. So you know you can get some mowers that leave a windrow, where your baler will be picking up from. It's always important to save that, because that's where the baler is going to go over to collect the bales. Now that could be a harvester that's dropping a swath that you need to pick up to make straw bales. If it's that, make sure you save that so the baler can go over it and emulate what the harvester did to pick up that swath it dropped. Same for a windrow, and obviously same for a mower if the mower is obviously leaving the row. But we're going to be windrowing, so we're going to make sure we save the windrow one so the baler can follow on exact same route as what the windrow did. Now I'll show you that exactly when I do it, but I just wanted to point that out. It is important to save that. So because I haven't got a mower right now that's dropping a row, it's not so important for me to save this route. But if it was, and I was going to use the baler from that row, then obviously I'd save it. So all we need to do now, again, is just jump in and start her off. We want to go pretty much just give it a helping hand and drive to the first waypoint. We know we're going to be starting on the up and downs because that's what we wanted. And I think, if I'm right, it just starts up here. So let's just give it a helping hand by starting it off here. That should be fine there. Need to change this down here. I will bring it up so you can see it a little bit better, but change that to first waypoint and off you go. So you'll start, but the first thing I want to do, it's really important that you check this out, is the speed that it's going to be working at. Now the reason I say that is because you don't want the thing behind it, if you set it going to be working faster so it catches up. So right now this is going 22 kilometers an hour. So I want to keep that in mind for when I generate the next, which is going to be the windrow. So you could obviously leave this going a little bit. Let's just jump over here. Yeah, we can obviously leave this going just a little bit, just to give it a head start, and while it's doing that we can set up the course. And hopefully at some point we'll get them all in the field and we won't have any issues, they won't be colliding with each other, and it'll work pretty well. Right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to set up the windrow. CoursePlay field work, target position, field position, doesn't really matter. Go with field position in the center. Open, generate course, 8.2 meters. Field center up and downs. We want to do 2 headland passes, but we want to make sure we start on the center. Job done. The generate field work course, as you can see, that looks like it's spot on. But we're starting from this direction this time, and then he's going down there. So I'm just trying to think if that would be an issue, but I don't think it will, because he has got quite a bit of a head start over there. So I'm happy with that. We can set this going. So let's just jump out. Now what you could do again is, just to make sure everything you think is going to work fine, is go to your vehicle settings, show all the waypoints. And it looks like everything's spot on there. You can see that he's going to do the headland, so he's not going to miss bits over here. So again, first waypoint, off you go. Now, what I quickly want to do is save this course, like I mentioned, because obviously the Baylor next is going to be using this course. So we'll go to test, we'll just save the course in there, activate, and we'll just call it 8.2 row for the purpose of this video. Job done. And that's it. So now, while that's going, and the mower's going, we're pretty much halfway through. Everyone's working well. Now, the reason I try and always start on the up and downs is because if you start on the headlands and then the mower, for example, gets to the up and down rows, but he's going, and there's a windrow, for example, going round, then there's a chance as it's turning it can collide. But if you go on the up and down rows, you're obviously minimising that. It'll still get to a point where the mower's completely done, and then he'll start his headland pass, and maybe your baler's still doing turns, even the windrow could be still doing turns, depends on what you're doing in the field, but it just minimises that chance, especially early on. So next job, baler. So let's jump into here. Now I have set these bales to the right for the wrapper. We don't want to mess that up, which is 150s, which is good. So now all we're going to do is load the course that the windrow is using, which is that one. Load course, activate, go to here, that one, and as you can see, he's fine. Now we do need to check the speeds on this, which is 15 kilometers, so that's never going to catch up the mower. And to make things a bit easier, now we could actually turn down the speed on this to match a bit more. We can turn it down to 15 because the windrow is not going too fast. So if we just turn the mower down as well, and you do that by changing the speed of your cruise control. So if I just bring my mouse up, here is the cruise control speed. It's usually set to the default maximum speed the tractor can go at. So if it's set to 30 but then the equipment can only go 20, it'll just hit 20 anyway, but because it can go above that, we've set it to 15, it's now doing that. If we go back to the windrower, he's at 15 as well, so we've got a nice pace thing going on here. And then if we go back to the baler, what I can do on this is set this also to 15. I've got everything nicely synced up then, so I shouldn't be having too many issues when it comes to colliding, hopefully, fingers crossed. But it means the baler, if I set him going now, he's never going to catch up with the windrow, so it shouldn't be an issue at all. So I've aligned myself at the start of the waypoint of the course that the windrow is using. We've copied that one, we saved it, and then now we've loaded it in. We want to go to first waypoint, and we want to go. Now, good thing about the baler, following on from this, every time this baler gets near enough full, you'll hear the beeps, it'll stop, drop the bale, happy days. So you don't have to worry about anything. So right now, we've got the mower, the windrower, and the baler all going at it through CoursePlay without us doing an absolute thing. If we change to flight mode, I think that looks pretty cool. And as you can see, the baler's just stopped, dropped out a bale, and it'll just carry on. So all he'll keep doing now is dropping these 150 bales, and eventually when the fields are all done, so at this point I would wait for the field to all be mowed, rowed and baled up, and then we'll come back to the wrapping. And there's a reason why you don't want to set the wrapper going first while there's still other pieces of equipment going on in the field, because what you want the wrapper to do is have a field full of just bales to go and collect and wrap. So I'll wait for these to do their thing. I might actually just leave this the camera here and do a bit of a massively quick time lapse so you can see the whole thing, but it'll be sped up massively, and then we'll jump back in when all the bales are done and we can carry on from there. So welcome back. Hopefully you did see that. I did have to jump out of that position a couple of times just to get the windrow and the mower out of the field, so it didn't block when the other piece of kit following got to the end as well of the course. But as you can see, all the bales are done and I haven't done absolutely anything. All I did was hover in the air and watch them do it. So the next part of this is to get the wrapper going. Now, what I will point out about the wrapper first is let's just unfold it because it's probably best to start off from there. Yeah, what I will quickly just point out is I've found that with the wrappers that you can purchase, the method that I'm going to show you right now, in all honesty, doesn't work too good with, wrong one, doesn't work too good with this wrapper. It seems to always clip the side, and then this pole that you can see here, this like bar that comes out when it unfolds, it kind of is supposed to scoop the bales in. It doesn't automatically detect if it's touching that. It has to be really flush on. Now I found that this one here works a treat, and also this one does square bales and round bales. So this is better. It's still not perfect, but I tell you one thing, it's pretty clever what it can do. So for this to work, all you need to be is in the field with the tractor and obviously your wrapper. You need to just change this to collecting / wrapping bales. That's all you got to do. This only shows up when the tractor that you're in is either connected to a trailer or a wrapper. That's the only time you'll ever see this selection here. And you don't need a course. You literally just put it on collecting / wrapping bales and press go. And then what will happen is, on its own, it'll go around the field randomly looking for bales. I'll pick one up and wrap away. And as you can see, you got that one spot on. So yeah, he'll just keep going around now, doing his job, wrapping all the bales. It's that simple and it's so clever. It really is. Obviously, if you've got a few collisions on the edge of the field, it can be a bit of a pain sometimes. You might get caught up. Just keep an eye on him. If you're obviously doing something else, keep coming back and checking just to make sure that he hasn't clipped anything. But let's see how he aligns for this. So he sensed that this one's the next one he wants to go for. And hopefully he's going to align pretty well. There you go, and he's now wrapping this one. So I do recommend using this wrapper. The other one really does have problems, but that one works, yeah, really well compared to the other one. And then again, you can do it with square bales as well. So all I'm going to do now, again, is I'm going to get up in the air. We're going to watch him in action, picking up all these bales and watching him slowly turn to orange. And then again, I'll put it on a bit of a fast time lapse. And then we'll cut back in when they're all wrapped so we can do the exact same thing, but with the Autoload trailer, and it can pick them up as well. And there we go. That's all the bales wrapped up. You can't pretty much miss them. I went with orange. I don't know why I went with orange. I kind of think that I just thought they'd stand out, and they surely do stand out. But yeah, he did the job. He did it really well as well. There was not pretty much one issue. There was a part over here where he got a bit confused because there's an actual big bale sitting on the other side over there from some tests I did on this map when I first started out testing. But there are obviously bigger bales anyway. But this, yeah, he kind of got caught up, so he was going around in a circle. So I just had to start him off again in this direction. And after that, he was fine. But if them bales weren't there, that wouldn't have been an issue. But as you can see, from minimal effort from my behalf, a whole grass field's been baled up and wrapped. Now obviously these bales would need to ferment because they are grass silage after all, but what we're going to quickly do is pick them up with the Autoload trailer. So what we need to do now that we're in the Autoload trailer, is get into it. If it's an Autoload, obviously put it into the operational mode. Same again, don't need to do any course, we just need to put it in collect and wrap in bales, and then we set it going, and what you'll notice is you'll go past one of these bales now. Boop, there we go, job done. So just need to leave him be now, going around until the trailer's full, and he'll collect the bales. He'll kind of go in a random path again, I guess just going from the nearest bale. I don't know how he does it, but it works itself out in the end. But yeah, we just let him pick up the bales, and when he's full, I'll show you what happens then. Right, so as you've just seen, he's now full, and it says the AI worker stopped unexpectedly because the tank is full. So even though it's not a tank, it's a trailer, it's detected that it's full. So now we've got a full load on here, which is 28 bales. This Autoload trailer does hold quite a bit. So what we need to do is obviously put it into transport mode. And then what we need to do is, because, well, we may as well carry on with the full automation. We're going to go sell these. Now, obviously they're just grass bales. You'd probably wait for them to be fermented, but I just want to prove to you that we can just go and sell them using auto drive as well. So we're going to go to the Cotswold bale cell, pretty much our closest one. And yeah, we're just going to leave this to do its thing, and off it goes on its merry way with the bales that it's automatically done itself from start to finish. And now it's going to go all that way up there and yeah, sell some bales. Now I probably did want to turn the speed down on that, it was a bit crazy. So let's quickly do that. Cornering speed, it is a big trailer, 60% should be fine. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead to the actual sell point, and we'll wait for it to get there, and we'll see what happens. Right, so here he is on his way. He's very close now. He's taking the long route, but we're there. Well, it is a long drive anyway, so really he's probably gone there as quick as possible. Should turn right now, which he has done, and the bale one is, I think, is this one here. So this is the final action, and if we've done this, then it proves that CoursePlay pretty much does all the field work that you need. And then obviously you've also got auto drive at the end to sell the bales. Now I did modify this. I've loaded this in. I've made it a little bit better where each individual sell point now is set up. So you just directly drive into the sell point and turn around and come back out. Whereas when I did it first, it drove through all the sell points. But he's obviously detected which one he's going to aim for. So I'll just quickly jump in, and then what we're going to do is bring up the F1 menu because it's an Autoload trailer. We need to unload here, and then just let them sell. Job done. 20,000 for some grass bales ain't that bad when you think about it. And just for grass bales, never mind the silage, I would have got a lot more. So there we go. That just proves that CoursePlay is really useful, especially for grass work. It can do the whole thing from start to finish. It can do you some bales. It can even wrap them, put them on an Autoload trailer for you. It really is quite sophisticated and definitely improves the gameplay. So I can't highly recommend it enough. I really can't, especially using it with auto drive like you've just seen as well, going to sell it. But it really does work a treat. So hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully you found it informative. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. And if you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one on Farming Simulator.